Hey, welcome to 5 Minutes of Management. I'm Frank Kalman here with Rick Bell. Rick, remember the Workforce Live Spring Season video library goes live May 25th. So if you weren't able to make any of our stops in Boston, New York, or Washington, D.C., you'll be able to view every single talk from that season May 25th at live.workforce.com.
Ooh, that's a mouthful.
Pretty pumped for that.
Yeah, and you've got the fall season already scheduled.
That's right. So we'll be going to Chicago, Dallas, and San Francisco September 1st, 7th, and 22nd, respectively. So we're already beginning to put our speaker lineup together. So it's going to be fun. It's going to be a great fall season, just as the spring was on.
Yeah, and it's a busy fall because Workforce Focus.
That's
we
right.
We have 2 events scheduled already. Workforce Focus on Benefits in Boston, I believe September 19th. And then a November event on employment law, Workforce Focus, in Chicago. So yeah, it's going to be a busy workforcey fall.
Sweet. So what do we got from news?
So Frank, do you use emojis when you text?
Oh, yeah. Yeah. I don't even use words anymore. Come on, Rick.
You just use symbols. Well, okay, so Google wants to create a new line of emojis that represent professional women in a proposal to the Unicode Consortium, which I had never heard of in the past. Apparently, they regulate all things emoji. Google wants to create a new set with the goal of highlighting the diversity of women's careers and empowering girls everywhere. Power to the girls. The proposal says women, and those under 30 in particular, are the most frequent users of emojis. And yeah, my daughters love to send me emojis. I have no idea what they're talking about. So probably if you texted me, I wouldn't know what you're talking about either.
Nope.
I don't deal with emojis.
What a world we live in, though, that the standard of being accepted is if you have a representative emoji.
I agree.
It's great.
I need a Rick Bell emoji. Maybe that's a beer mug.
We do.
I don't know.
What else isn't represented in emoji form that we can make an argument for?
I don't know. But so what they're going to do is female characters in professional clothing, including business suits, lab coats, medical scrubs, and construction hats, which would be a hard hat. One sample emoji even has a pitchfork and a farmer's hat. I'm not going there. Google has included sample male versions of the same emojis. So look for new emojis on your phone next time.
We need a workforce editor emoji.
Yeah,
just
like
because.
The pitchfork might actually...
If I want to talk about my job via text, and I don't want to use words, what do I do?
I don't know.
Well, anyway, Rick, some interesting news out of the government this week. New federal regulation issued on Wednesday will reveal publicly the workplace injuries and illnesses employers have typically logged for their private use. So, Rick, as you know, workplace illness and illness and injuries, huge deal in the labor force. I think somewhere around 3 million people a year are injured on the job or fall ill, depending, because of the safety and workplace conditions. This new rule is basically saying that companies will have to disclose this information publicly, which is igniting a little bit of a tension point between business groups and unions, because unions are saying this transparency is great. It's going to get all this information out in the open, which will further nudge employers to improve their safety standards. Business groups are saying that, I don't know if this is a good idea. I think this transparency could bring a lot of this information out of context and may bring some frivolous lawsuits as a result. Where do you stand?
Granted, you should have as safe a workplace as possible. But because you're already reporting injuries to OSHA, which is where this regulation is coming from, and there's always been that contentious relationship between OSHA and the business community. So I don't think it's necessary. I think it's overkill. I think, granted, you want to have as safe a workplace as possible, and if this can help improve workplace safety, that's great. I just don't see that it's anything that's really going to enhance workplace safety. In fact, I think there's the potential for giving away data or creating sort of this false sense of what's happening in a workplace. I just don't see it being beneficial.
Yeah, in 2016, it seems that transparency is all the rage, and it seems to be the answer that most institutions are going after as something that's going to solve a lot of the problems. And, I'm curious to see if the behavioral economics actually plays out with this, if, making this information public actually nudges employers to be more cognizant of its workplace safety standard and maybe even make their environments more safe. But at the same time, I can understand the gripe that employer and business groups are having by saying, hey, if you post this information, it could potentially be taken out of context, and that could create a lot of problems for companies. So let's kind of wait and see how this plays out before we draw any conclusions.
Right. Well, yeah. Obviously, you have to, but I just think it's overkill, and I think OSHA is wrong to do this.
We'll have to. Is there an emoji for workplace injury?
For OSHA.
For OSHA?
Yeah. The slip and fall emoji.
That'll be a new rule.
The crate falling on your head emoji.
Well, that's all we've got for this week's edition of 5 Minutes of Management. For Frank Kalman, we got Rick Bell. We'll see you next week.